Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Afternoon Market Action. My name is Glenn.
My name is Patrick.
And we're going to be your host for the next 45 minutes or so as we take you through why the flying flip, our market is just gyrating all over the place. So we're going to see what's going on. We're going to talk about what we see, get some feedback from you guys. Thank you for that cigar. Thank you for that, Lee. If you can hear us, by all means, please chime in on the chat. Hopefully you guys saw the short I put up in the full regalia. Got my cowboy boots on today. Got my hat on today. And I wanted to wear my hat for the live stream today. So
very Indiana Jones-ish.
I don't have a whip, though. I need a whip. I need a whip. I need to have me a whip. All right, but I don't have one of those. All right, so for those of you who are brand new to the channel, thank you for joining in today. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the content. We got a lot of good content for you today. Patrick's got a lot of stuff going on as well, good stuff. He'll talk a little bit about that as well to get you guys prepped for that. Check out the stuff that we got going on our YouTube channel. We got a lot of content out there that you guys can check out. A lot of shorts, a lot of content. So if you're not already doing that, please do that. And before we get started, by all means, take a moment right now. I invite everybody in here. Take a moment right now. Share this link. Share this live stream with people on your social circles, folks. All right, do that for me. That gets a lot more people into the room, especially with what's going on in the market. This gives people a better idea of what's going on and how to better take advantage of it. I did put out a video last night called Back to the Basics. Hopefully you had an opportunity to take a look at it, which stemmed from the live stream that we have on Monday, where I asked a lot of people if you're making money in the market or not. And a lot more people said no than yes. So I wanted to put out a video to address that. Hopefully you guys had an opportunity to take a look at that. All right. Let's start off with the homepage. Let's just start off with the homepage. See what's going on. As you can see, all of the major indices are down. The Dow is down 226. The Dow is the only one besides the S&P 100 that's not down at least 1%. But leading the charge to the downside actually is the VectorVest Composite, which tracks over 9,000 stocks. So the broad market move today is down by way of the VectorVest Composite, outpacing all of the other major indices. Somebody said Indy wants his hat back. Man. 200 likes and Glenn will eat a big spoon. I am not ever eating pimento cheese. That is the nastiest stuff besides cottage cheese to ever eat. You can put up 1,000 likes. Glenn is not eating pimento cheese. Now, Patrick, on the other hand, might. I'm not eating not a drip, not a drop of no pimento cheese. That ain't happening.
There's nothing wrong with pimento cheese, man. It's good.
Everything is wrong with pimento cheese. It is. Ugh.
You ever had it on bacon?
Thinking about it. Huh?
You ever had it on bacon?
No, I'm not messing up my bacon with pimento cheese. Or liverwurst. That's even worse. Try it with liverwurst. Ugh. All of that is too southern for me. Team, the ones not making money, get the market timing grab. To the ones not making money, get the market timing grab. I'm a big fan of that too. Stan Heller did the same survey exercise Tuesday, asking how many lost money in the stock market using VectorVest. Results were 64. I don't understand that, Michael. Patrick, can you understand that with all of the information that we give, with all of the guidance that we give, with all of the free stuff, videos that we give, can you see how that many people are losing money?
Yeah.
I can't. I still can't.
Well, I mean, you have to understand the vast majority of retail or individual traders still follow emotions, even if they have a system and they know the system, and they still, 9 times out of 10 will say, but I see this going on, and they think they outsmart it and they think they know better and they go against it, and then they end up being on the wrong side of things. I mean, it's human instinct to do that, and it's hard. Emotions are really hard to control when it comes to trading in the market. So
if we know that the emotions hurt us and we want to learn to be better investors, do we not turn around and try to adjust, overcome, and adapt to what we have to make ourselves better?
You do, but
I,
it's hard. You know, and I know that sometimes there's certain things that are hard to finally face the facts and admit.
okay.
And I mean that's just human nature. So,
But for me, my question was of the VectorVest subscribers, how many of you are losing money? And again, it was a lot more people losing money than I really imagined it would be.
I mean,
But
I've told you about this in the past. I've had people, reach out to me in the background stating that they're having a hard time making money. And when I talk to them and I ask them if they've done a few things that we talk about here during our afternoon market action and some of our other streams, and they give an honest answer of no, 9 times out of 10. So even though they know they shouldn't be doing it, they still end up doing it. So it really takes, there's nobody else out there that's going to be able to make people do what they need to be doing except for them. And they have to, be honest with themselves and say, okay, look, I've made these issues. I really wasn't following the plan, the rules that I had set in place that I was learning from VectorVest. So yeah, it takes a lot of
moxie,
yeah,
that's a good word.
It takes a lot from an individual to be able to admit that when they're wrong, and so that way they can work on trying to improve it. That's the best way of saying it.
Okay, I got you.
But when they finally do admit it, that's when they turn their portfolios around, and that's when they start consistently making money.
I'm trying to get people to a point. I won't just say I know that we're trying to get people to a point where they start making better decisions, right? And that's overall what we're trying to do. All right. So this is the homepage. This is what's going on in the market. Markets are all down today. Let's go start to take a look at some of our news stories out there and see what we got going on. Can I just push it here? The news stories. Go to the news. Man, I sometimes say hi, Joey. Sometimes I hate you. Yeah. But in a loving way. But in a loving way. Is there a point to this? Yeah, the point is done. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with one of Patrick's stories. It is Joey's fault. Thank you, Mark. I need to pin that. Hold on. How do I do that?
The scapegoat now has a scapegoat.
No, he won't let me pin that. I can't. He won't let me pin that. All right. So the first story is yours, Patrick. Talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, the headline, it's a pretty short article. The headline pretty much states it. Minneapolis Fed president goes full hawkishness before a decision. This should come as no surprise for everybody who tunes in on a weekly basis here to our AMA. But basically, he's stating as long as inflation is still high, or if not rising, or rising still, then there's no reason for the Fed to start slowing down on interest rates or start to pivot in the near future. So, it goes down into it a little bit more. The Powell's come out and stated 4.5 to 4.6, I think, is their high mark, their benchmark that they're planning on trying to attain. But as you can see here,
they're almost there.
Once its benchmark rate or interest rate hits 4.5 to 4.7, if underlying inflation is still accelerating, then they should still continue on their path of increasing interest rates. And basic economics from, if anybody's taken even Econ 101 knows with interest rates, if you're going to raise interest rates to slow down inflation, then interest rates need to be past the point that are higher than what inflation is. And right now we're not even close still. So, I mean, this is pretty much telling everybody what we've been saying. The Fed has set their path. They're heading that way no matter what, no matter who asks them and pleads with them to stop. This is what they're doing. So buckle up, folks.
Quick question. Mass Luxury Transportation says, Patrick, what did you do recently with the primary wave turning up and green light yesterday? Curious how you navigated this recent bullishness.
So really, I've been, having a few positions that I haven't really touched very much. Short term, end term. Look at what I did in the Jockey Club yesterday. Found a trade. Can't even remember the name of the symbol off the top of my head, but we hit a 17.5% win yesterday. So far in the last 3 weeks, I've had 5 trades in the Jockey Club. 4 out of 5 are winners. The one stock that went down took a I cut it quickly yesterday, lost 4.6% or so roughly. But overall in that portfolio, it's up about 11% in the last 3 weeks, not even a full month, and up over 11% between 5 trades, and only using 1/5 of the portfolio's total value to trade on in a certain position. So that's what I've been following, during this crazy time frame where, nobody wants to be sitting in any individual stock, whether it be bullish or bearish, overnight, because we never know what could happen overnight and wake up the next day and find the market completely reversing, going the opposite direction, 100, 200 basis points. So yeah, playing it day at a time, taking advantage of the intraday moves. But cash is king right now, and trying to keep as much cash on the sidelines as possible.
Glenn, what are the chances interest rates go above 10? I think not good. I don't think we're going to get above 10.
We need to, but I agree.
I agree with we need to, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I think that by time we get to about, let's just say 6, I think it can get as high as 6. I think by that time, I think that the Fed will think that they've done enough to go after inflation and start pulling back. Whether they stop raising interest rates or start cutting, I don't think they cut them just quite yet. I think 6. I don't see 10, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't see 10. But I'm with Patrick in that. Hold on. And I'm thinking that we need to be above that number. Go ahead.
If inflation's, let's say, 8%, I know last reading was like 8.1, but let's just say 8% to make it an easy number. Then interest rates need to be at least 8%, 8.5% or higher, right, to really cool down that inflation rate. So, I mean, that's from a general standpoint, looking at the economics of it. But that's where we need to be at if we're really going to cool off inflation. If the Fed thinks what they're doing is actually the right way of handling the situation, that's where we need to be. But like Lee just stated, our government can't afford 10% on our deficit, and that's 100% correct. Even
absolutely.
3.5%, 4%. The what was the stats I gave you? I think it was last week we talked about it. 3.5%, 4% makes just maintaining our current deficit unattainable or not possible. So yeah, where we're at right now is a very interesting situation. And like we saw back when the Volcker days, when he, raised interest rates to completely crush inflation, they didn't have $30 trillion in debt sitting on their balance sheets when they were doing that as well. So it's a different situation, and I'm glad I'm not having to try to juggle how they're going to handle this.
Let's get to the next story. Was this yours too?
Yeah, this is another one of mine.
All right, Tesla earnings are coming, but do record deliveries mask a demand problem? Go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, so really just wanted to bring attention. Tesla has earnings after hours today. They've already released some numbers showing strong demand, but at the same time, they're also seeing the wait times in China drastically improving, which means that there's not as much of it. They're basically making the claim that because demand times are slowing down or becoming less, that there's not as much of a demand is slowing down. So they're basically questioning how sustainable is, the forecasted growth in China that has really kept the stock price valuation at the levels we've seen it. Is that are those forecasts potentially wrong because we're starting to come into a slowdown? And if so, what's that going to do to Tesla's stock price? So, we saw Netflix coming out with the earnings beat, a surprise yesterday. Maybe the FANG stocks have, a little bit of a rally, and maybe the bar is set so low now that we've been through now going into 3 quarters that maybe they could pull out an earnings beat as well and see a nice little boost to it, going forward here.
There's a difference between earnings beat and forward guidance. That's what's going to be the big story when these FANG stocks do come out. That's what I think. All right, next story. Oil prices head for first gain in 4 sessions as U.S. supplies decline, while Biden administration plans another SPR, strategic oil reserves release. I just got a news breaking story that says Biden defends U.S. oil reserve release to fight rising gas prices before midterm, not politically motivated. Hold on.
Oh man, I can't say my comment I want to say on stream.
I heard it. Oh, okay. So nobody heard my crickets? All right. Well,
I can't say my comment.
I can't say my comment either, bro. Holy smokes. Another story for another time. All I'm saying in regards to this, oil prices in my mind are being artificially held lower going into midterms. And for anybody to say that it's not political, I think is ludicrous.
Yep.
It really is ludicrous. Nonetheless, from an investing standpoint, how does this affect our ability to make money in oil? I still think that it's a long-term play. I still own WTI. I think that whatever's going on with the whole oil situation, with the reserves, we're gonna so get screwed if anything bad happens. We really, really are, and people won't see it until it happens. You're gonna say, well, why we ain't got no oil? Because we left it out and put it out there to bring the oil prices low. That's why.
Wouldn't let us start our own drilling and our own oil production here.
Oh yeah, my tongue should be red because I am so biting it so hard. But
it's funny if they started fixing the oil issues when we first started talking about it and talking about how they could resolve it.
We would be fine now.
These oil companies would already be drilling, already be supplying oil directly to here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But now they've waited so long. Now it's going to be, even if they did pass producing oil in the States and supplying our own states with it,
we'd be behind the 8 ball.
So far away that it really wouldn't help.
Absolutely. Companies are not reinvesting in major fossil fuel projects because they have no incentive to do it anymore. There's no real incentive to do it. All right. I'm going to move, but before I start to leak out all of the stuff that I want to say, I'm going to go to the next story. And this is how we got 2 stories together back. But anyway, earnings have been better than expected. Why the average stock is still falling. And it all comes down to one thing right here. The reason stocks seem to be getting punished no matter what is all about forward expectations. So I still think that when you were talking about the Netflix coming out and the tech stocks probably getting a beat, it's going to be the forward guidance. And the forward guidance is going to be contingent upon the company's ability to do business by borrowing money. If the rates are going up on the money borrowed, it's taking money out of the bottom line, which affects the forward expectations. All right.
Well, Netflix gave pretty good forward expectations. They said this is their last quarter of declining growth, subscriber growth, and they expect to see increasing subscriber growth going forward. So
that's what they expect. But what the reality is going to be going into the next quarter is going to be less than what we all think is going to be desired. People, whether it's
Netflix, the expectations
is whatever. People, when the poop hits the fan, folks, people are going to start dropping all of the extraneous things that they don't need. It's going to happen. You know what just happened to me this week? My wife looks at me. I give her X amount of money towards bills on top of the bills that I pay because there's some bills that are in her name. She says, honey, do you know we're paying like $200 and some odd dollars, $230, $240 on cable? I was like, oh, well. But that's me. That's me. I'm like, oh, well. So then we went and got our new phones, the iPhone 14. Mine is on back order. Mine doesn't ship until November. She's getting hers this week. But the guy talked to us because I am so, what's the word I'm looking for when you go to buy something? What's the word? You guys know the word. Somebody can, what's the word, Patrick?
What are you looking for?
When you go see something, you buy it just because.
Spontaneous?
Impulsive. There it is.
Impulsive?
Because I'm so impulsive, he sold us into DirecTV streaming cable. So as long as I've got internet, I can stream cable without having it tied into my cable system. So now,
that's what I use.
But it saved me a ton of money. So now our bill went from like $200 and some odd down to like $130 to include cable and internet. So I'm like, oh, all right, so that'll work. So again, even someone like me who really doesn't care, I'll spend money on anything just because I can. But something like that is what people are looking at, and more people are going to be cutting things that they don't really need to have. And a lot of these companies are going to be affected adversely. I think I do have a landline. It was part of
You do?
It was part of the Spectrum deal that I had.
Often. Yeah, you're just paying extra for that. Get rid of that, man.
Well, it's gone now, but I think what happened
I didn't think anybody actually had those anymore.
Every so often, a number would pop up on the TV screen, and I'd be like, "What the heck is that?" I think we still have a landline. I don't. That was getting money out of me for that, and I don't even have a phone. I don't even have a phone in there. All right, so I think this goes along with Patrick's story in regards to earnings have been better than expected, but why the stock's falling, I think the bigger overall thing is going to be forward guidance and knowing that people are going to be cutting things going into the future. They just are. Is it rotary powered? Is it a rotary? No, I don't. Hush up. No. Look at that. Adrian says he has a landline. I don't know. Glenn, put your home phone number in the chat. Oh, yeah, I'll do that right now. Not. All right. Next one. This is mine too, but I'm not going to go to it. I'm going to go to yours. Apple cuts production of iPhone 14 Plus. The information. Talk about it.
So, I mean, we've been discussing this on and off for the last month or so. They're realizing demand is definitely slowing down, softening, whatever they want to call it. They're already starting to cut production. They've completely halted production in one of their China plants. And also it states here, the move comes at a time when global smartphone markets have been softening, shrinking 9% in the third quarter compared to the same period a year earlier. Where did it state the other part? Oh yeah, told at least one manufacturer in China to immediately halt production of the iPhone 14 Plus components, according to the report. So here it is. This is what we've been talking about. This is what I was worried about. I mean, I stated it a million times. Apple's a great company. They've got tons of money. They have lots of their products are definitely by far superior than most other products. But when people are going to cut back, like you were just talking about, it's going to be the expensive things such as cell phones, tech, all of that they're going to cut back on first and foremost.
I'm buying my Apple phone. Actually, it won't ship until November. I'm getting my Apple phone. Any hope for penny stocks? Ooh.
I don't trade anything less than $2.
It's a tough play right now if you're going to look at penny stocks. Not in this kind of market. Not in this. Now, I will back that up a little bit. If you can find, like we do in our derby and our jockey club, find something that moves, but you got to get in and out within the same day. That's the only hope that I have for any penny stock at this particular point. Nothing that I'm trying to hold long term. It has to strongly be a day trade. All right, so that's my answer to that. Housing starts retreat. I'm a big fan of DRV right now. Still, U.S. housing starts retreat in September, dragging down the U.S. growth. And, altogether, we're trying to slow down the economy. But this is it right here. Sales dropped 8.1%. People are backing out of it because mortgage rates are so high. So whether it's mortgage, whether it's real estate to buy houses and all that kind of stuff, I'm still a big fan of DRV right now at this time. Energy says 555 get extra. I'm not even putting that up because I love you. I love you, Energy. But yeah. All right. We keep the landline, but have forwarded those calls to one of our cell phones, so all old schools who have that number for us can still get a hold of us. I got you, Vicky. I hear that. All right. Next story. Next two stories of mine. I'll get through them real quick. Interesting. How many of you are willing to, with the current market's conditions, how many of you willing to fly right now? Just type a 1 in the room.
Man, I haven't been on an airplane since the pandemic started.
Oh, I just recently was on an airplane. We flew to Pennsylvania. We went to Pittsburgh. So we flew. So how many of you are still willing to fly? Because airlines are still saying upbeat demand outlook. All of them are saying that. And even in these times, Apple wants to cut back on the phones because people don't want to buy them. This person wants to cut back, but people want to fly?
Well, that's a mode of transportation. People need to fly.
No, you don't need to fly. You can still drive or don't travel. It's one of the two. And you know something? There's been plenty of times when the gas prices were high, people didn't travel. So you didn't need to fly. And they got hurt. The airlines got hurt. All right. Or if you didn't take vacation. So I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to, but I'm just curious, I don't know. I've been on a plane a couple of times since the pandemic. I'm still a fan of wearing a mask. I will still wear a mask on an airplane because I still think that a lot of people are not taking all of the precautions and not doing all of the right things, or are sick and don't know it, and da-da-da-da-da. I still will wear a mask on the plane.
No way. You don't say.
Yeah, I will. Hell no. I'm going to tell you that.
People aren't taking the right precautions? No way.
I am, but then I fly free. And the cool thing about that, Lynette, because my daughter works for IT at Southwest, guess what? I now fly free, which is kind of cool. I get to fly free as well. So when Janet and I now travel, the cool thing about that is the traveling from airline perspective is got cut in half. I didn't say, shut up, Joey. I'm going to fight you after today. I'm going to fight you. All right. So I will wear a mask on air travel, says Ramore as well. All right. So I'm just interested in that. And the last one is LNG, one of the best stocks we've had in the software. LNG freight rates hit $450,000 a day as Russia disrupts fuel supplies. I still think LNG is a good company. I still think oil is a good company, a good way to go. And shipping companies are on the rise once again. So a couple of places where you should look to be putting your money. All right. We're on point today. We're only at 2:30, and now we get to look at our stocks. Right on point. I'm loving that. Let's get into the software. Let's go to the viewers, and let's start off. Let's go with Patrick's picks. Patrick's picks from last week. Let's start off there. Here were your stocks. And look at that. LNG was one of your stocks last year. Did you really take WTI?
No, that wasn't my picks. Because I had DRN last week.
Wow. My picks are not even in here. Oh, yeah. That's weird. Do you remember your picks from last week? Your picks are not even here for this week. All right, something happened.
How many watch lists do you have in this build?
Interesting. Something tells me I gotta restart this.
Something tells me you have way too many watch lists built.
No, not for AMA. This is all the watch list I've got. For
but AMA, look at the other folders right below there. I'm talking about this account.
I got a lot of, but this is the primary one that I use for 7.
Oh man, this brings me back to the horror days that I'd have to deal with sometimes when doing troubleshooting.
All right, something tells me that something went awry. Hold on, let's sign back into it because I set up all of our watch lists today. All right.
Oh, so while you're doing that, so maybe this is a good time now.
Go ahead.
So for everybody that's tuning in, as you guys know, next week we kick off our Trading for Charity event, partnered with Levine Children's Hospital, where we're going to be raising money for Levine. It's going to be a little bit different this year. for anybody who was hanging out with us last year. I'm still going to be doing some live trading. I'm still going to be answering your guys' questions and going over different ways to help you guys become financially independent through using the stock market. But this year, we're going to put some milestones and some goals out for money raised for Levine. To give you guys a little sneak peek, this will be the first time I'm announcing any of the milestones. I'm not going to tell you guys where they're at because I'll keep that a surprise still, but to give you guys a little sneak peek on some of the things to look forward to. Early on, we'll have some giveaways, some course giveaways like we did last year. We'll also be giving away some annual subscriptions such as mobile plus an intraday annual subscription as well. But then some of the later things to look forward to, the higher goals. So this is going to make you guys have to work for it. But for everybody who's always talked about, we want to see Joey. If you guys are good enough, Joey has said if we hit a certain milestone, he will shave his head and you guys will be able to see the video of him getting his head shaved for the charity. As well as Glenn and I will also do that. So you'll see all three of us there. Some other ones, we could have maybe Glenn come sing on stream for us. We can do an AMA, so I will make a community post and you guys can put your questions in and we'll pick one question from that list and I'll answer it live, whatever it could be, whether it be regarding stocks, history, whatever. I'll answer any question, whatever you guys settle on as the main question, we'll go ahead with that. We also have, let's see what other ones we had. We'll also be doing, if we hit certain if we hit one of the higher milestones, we will be, the education department will make a video of a Christmas carol dressed up in Christmas outfits, such as Santa, reindeer, elves, whatever. And we will be uploading that video to our YouTube channel, where we're singing a Christmas carol. So those are some of the milestone goals. So if you guys can reach some of these milestones, you guys have some great, amazing content in the works ready to go for you guys. So you guys need to be there. Make sure to tell everybody about it. And yeah, we can't do it without you. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys once again, October 25th. So next Tuesday at noon, right here on the VectorVest YouTube channel. All right, there we go.
So all the watch lists are back. Something happened. This happens to me every so often. These were your stocks from last week.
Okay.
All right.
Credit Suisse was a short, I believe, but that's fine.
Okay. Let's do a quick test from a week ago. Credit Suisse was up.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Credit Suisse was the biggest winner, actually.
DRN was up even with the down day here today. Put it back one day ago and see what the numbers come out to be. I'm curious to see what it was before the news came out this morning. 12.5%.
Wow, look at that.
All right, folks, so you can't make money on that bounce.
Actually,
I don't know what to tell you.
You did gooder. Run the test. You were up about 1%. The market was up. The S&P was up about 3.25. You were still up. 4 out of your 6 stocks made money. Good job, bro. All right, let's talk about your picks for this week. You got 3: Tesla, Netflix, and ISRG.
Yeah, so mainly earnings plays. Tesla has earnings after hours today. It's going to be interesting, but after seeing Netflix coming out with a positive run or a positive earnings report and seeing the big move there, I'm kind of leaning towards seeing Tesla also having an earnings beat and seeing a nice little run coming into tomorrow. Netflix, their CEO stated in the earnings call yesterday, he's glad to finally see an end to the shrinking in their subscriber numbers and expects subscriber growth going forward. So that's a positive sign. Netflix has been in the gutters for quite some time, for most of the year so far. So hopefully we see a nice little pop or a nice continuation with that. And then ISRG is a stock that I've been following for a very, very long time, and it's having a nice breakout here today. So I like the play as long as it can get follow through after the breakout here today. if we take a look at the analysis of them, Tesla, obviously going to be overvalued. Netflix, still overvalued at this point. ISRG, also overvalued. So all three stocks still very overvalued at this stage. But looking at them, Tesla has the best long-term potential. Netflix and ISRG have poor long-term potential. They're more now at this stage considered conservative plays because they have an RS rating above that level of 1 and an RV rating below that level of 1. So all three stocks have strong safety. At this current market, I think putting an extra emphasis on that safety factor is definitely a prudent idea. Then looking at the timing, Netflix has a positive timing. ISRG is basically neutral right now, but if it can get follow through tomorrow after the big pop we saw today, then we could see that timing get back above that level of 1, which would be a positive sign and a good entry opportunity there if we can get the markets moving in our favor once again. Tesla is the only one that has the RT below that level of 1, but if they can outperform in earnings, which the bar is already pretty low, so it shouldn't be too hard for them. But if they can outperform in that earnings, give some decent expectations going forward or forward guidance, we could see that turn around and see that RT start to climb once again. We go ahead and take a look at the graphs of them real fast. I'm going to go even on a 6-month. So at Tesla, you're seeing some capitulation and some consolidation here over the last few days. You had a bullish Harami right here. Nice follow through, but pulling back a little bit. So earnings could be that catalyst that really breaks us out of this consolidation here and starts to move higher, at least to a retest of that resistance found here. Getting into the next. Netflix. So Netflix, you've been in this, well, even longer than that, really. Netflix, you've been in this sideways channel. You have been picking up off of those lows and had a slow, steady climb higher. You still got a long ways to go before you fill this gap up here at roughly 330 and some or 330 or so, which could give some nice profit targets for you if you're jumping on board after that earnings beat. As always, if ever you're playing a stock that gaps up like this, you do want to make sure that you put a line in the sand at the low of the gap up day. So at the low of today, as long as it stays above this point, that means the stock is either moving sideways or moving higher. Either way, you should be fine with if you're holding it long. If it breaks down below that, then probability tells us there's about a 90% chance that it'll fill that gap, and you don't want to be sitting there watching it pulling back while trying to hope and pray that it recovers. So, fairly tight stop loss on that. Has some decent upside potential with minimum downside risk as long as you keep your stops tight. Then getting into the third, ISRG. So ISRG is a very interesting stock for anybody who's not familiar with it. Their Da Vinci product is a product that they can use where a doctor could be sitting, let's say, in Charlotte, North Carolina, and working on a soldier who just got wounded over in the Middle East. If somebody got hit with an IED, there would be a robot there, and it would basically act as the doctor's hands, and they can do extremely complicated surgeries from remote anywhere around the globe to help take care of people. Obviously, it could be used in other applications, more locally, but it is extremely interesting technology. Being raised in a family that's close in the medical field, I've followed this stock for a long time. It's definitely out of its heyday. It's more of that slow, steady, consistent performer. But with the gap up here today, if we can get follow through tomorrow, that could be a great entry into a new reversal higher here in the stock, which could create some good money making opportunities here. But still treat it the same way as you would with Netflix gap up. Put your line to sand at the low of today. As long as it stays above that point, it's either making you money or just moving sideways. Either way, you're not losing money, so it's a good thing. If it breaks down below that low, that's your signal to cut it.
Interesting. Dr. D, a lot of years ago, talked about this, actually did an essay about ISRG. The technology is awesome technology, but even if you go back in time, the stock has had its pops and its drops. 5 years, as high as up here at 369. Right now it's trading at 212. I'm going to put this back on the 6 month. This catches my attention. I love this is an earnings play. All right, this is an earnings play. I put earnings on. I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
This is an earnings play. But what I don't like is the give back. I like, the bounce up. I like the 3-8 cross. I like all of that and on volume.
Yep.
But the closing of the candle catches my attention. I'm like, it's tough. It's tough. But it's a great stock as far as the technology. I'm with Patrick on that. And again, I got introduced to this a lot of years ago.
Yep, same
by way
here.
of Dr. DeLito. It really is a good stock, but I'm watching that on that earnings play, the pop, but the pullback.
Yeah, and I think, with the market conditions, I'm hesitant to take long positions, but for viewers out there and everything, it's a lot easier to give bullish positions rather than trying to short stocks because that's all dependent on brokers and what they have available. So that's why, nibbling right now, following that guidance of using that line in the sand by putting, a line at the low of the gap up day today, I think would be a prudent approach. If it doesn't, you cut your loss quickly. You take a couple % loss, move on, wait another day, or wait for a better opportunity. But, with positive earnings, a nice gap up, granted it's being affected by the overall market currently, but the markets can start getting a little bit of a run coming into election season. That could help boost ISRG and give some nice gains into people's portfolios. So
I got you. All right. My picks from last week. What was I in? LNG is one of them. DRV. Yeah. Stocks. I don't think they did so hot. All right. I was bullish going into these stocks. Even today, big mover still is Drive, DRV. I own that in my real life portfolio. LNG still looks good. FANG-D, the tech stocks to the downside. Energy stocks, tech stocks, healthcare stock. Let's go back 1 week. All right, those were my stocks of choice last week. Let's do a quick test. Bada boom. Ew. Only one stock went up. That was CCRM. Whereas I figured LNG didn't do half bad. It was only down about 1/10%. It was the tech stocks. They bounced. All right. If I was in FANG-U, I'd be up almost 11%. But I went the downside to the tech stocks, got hurt. The real estate DRV got hurt. The tech stocks again for stocks short got hurt. Energy stock, blah blah blah, less than 1%. But the biggest movers were the tech stock and the real estate to the downside. So not so good. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's go take a look at my picks for this week. I got LNG again. Did I really? I had the story. I had LNG again. I still have DRV. I've got oil and United Airlines. I'm interested about that in regards to going into the week. But airlines have been so beaten up. I think no matter what airline you look at, they're all undervalued. Oil still gotten beaten up, undervalued. That's going to be fairly. And all of my stocks are undervalued, with good upsides, with relative values above one. Only relative safety factor or risk level of risk above one is LNG, with a relative safety at 1.38. All of my stocks grow their earnings nicely, and they all have positive earnings. They'll have positive earnings, and they grow it in a beautiful way. So I still think that with the overall market's conditions, with energy, I still like Lanier. I like WTI. With real estate or with housing, people not wanting to pay the high mortgage rates for homes, real estate's going to be affected. And interesting still about United Airlines. Let's go graph them all real quick. I'll leave this on. I'll put this on a 3-month graph. LNG, right at its session highs over the last month, sitting at the value of about 178.62. Pulled back to 3 and 8 across. A nice open day on the candle, but overall coming from this low, moving up. I'd like to see if it can break through this level of 178.62. But bottom left, top right, one of the best stocks in our database is still moving up. Let's go to the next one.
Hey, Glenn, before you move to the next one,
yeah,
can I ask you your opinion on something?
Sure.
look at the high mark on LNG,
right?
and then look at where the RT is at that point.
All right, say it again. I got an
The high mark.
So,
Where's the high mark on?
right here, sitting at 178.62.
The actual high mark, like the high marker. There you go.
170. That's what I said.
Yeah. And then look at RT. See how RT is
Yep.
at a peak right there?
So you showing me a bearish divergence with RT falling.
Yep. No,
I hear you on that. I'm going outside of that based upon what's going on in the market currently. That's why I've still been bullish on petroleum, on everything, petroleum and energy. I hear you on that. I totally hear you on that.
I'd be careful and not try to pinch every single penny you can out of it. If you got good gains, don't hesitate to lock profit in at least.
Not only that, what was the words that I said coming out of my mouth? I'd like to see us take out the high. So I'm still making sure that the stock is doing what I wanted to do. I didn't say anybody to go buy it right now. Personally, I'm trading it. But if you're looking at the graph on LNG being the stock that it has been in the top VST, I would let this come to you. I do see, and I did see this before I pulled this up, the bearish divergence. I'm taking the current market's conditions going on that you can't just sweep under the carpet. You know, that's the way, that's how I'm looking at this. That's how I'm looking.
Well, I would just, you know, because we've been talking about LNG for a while. It's been a top VST stock for a while. So for anybody, because I know a lot of people probably own it. So for anybody who does, you know, if you see this, it doesn't mean run to the hills. It doesn't mean sell it. It just means make sure you're tightening up your stops so that way you're not giving your profits back.
And actually, just to make it real easy, look at the 3 and the 8, which crossed yesterday. Would that have been a good opportunity to get out of it? Absolutely.
Yep.
But if you still are holding it, the 3 and the 8 look like it's going to pop back up. Either you held it or you got rid of it. Or if you're not in it, I'd wait for it to go above that level of the 3-month high. Absolutely. Next one is DRV. Had a beautiful move. And does it have more opportunity? Absolutely. I'm still looking at mortgage rates. You could say somewhat the same thing about RT as well on this one. But a couple of these stocks is straight up looking at current markets conditions. And still with DRV, if you're not in it. And you know something? I got in it. I made some money. The 3 and the 8 would have kept me in here. The 3 and the 8 wouldn't have got me out. I would have made a great killing right here. But I pulled it early. And I don't want us to try to do that again. Let the stock come to you. And I'm playing price action. I'm looking at the technicals in RT, but I'm going to play price action on this, especially with, this is a weird freaking market. And a lot of the market's conditions are affecting these kinds of stocks. So that's what I'm looking at. All right. The next one, WTI, trading right at its 3-month level of resistance, sitting at 764, or better yet, a high of 799. But even in this little pullback, look at the 3 and the 8, still holding, and tracking very close to the 3-month level of resistance. I still like
the way that looks.
Nice open candle, and that's fine. All right, nice open candle. And this catches my attention. Even on the pullback, the 3 and the 8 held you without being knee-jerk, reactionary. And a lot of people are still sitting in it, still making money. I'm still sitting in it. I'm still making money. Open candle, one white shoulder, right at resistance. Now, I'd like to see better volume. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I like to pick up on relative timing. I do like to pick up on relative timing. And again, oil. We're gonna come to a head in this whole situation. And at some point in time, I think that WTI is going to explode.
It looks like it's trying to turn the corner, man. I like that chart.
All right, and that's fine. And again, I love that we have opposing views on some of this stuff.
We're not having opposing views. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it looks like it's trying to turn that corner and move higher. I like the chart.
I wish you'd be more clear on what you said.
I wish you would listen.
Okay, that might work too. That probably might work a little bit too.
I don't know how much more clear than I like that chart I can get.
I'm gonna fight you and Joey after this at the same time. All right. But this is really encouraging that even on the pullback, The 3 and the 8 never cross. The 3 and the 8 never cross. So I do like that. This I think is noise. I don't know, but it not only is it gapped up. That was an earnings play. Not only did it gap up, but it did so on big volume. So there's a lot of interest behind it. I totally understand that. But look at the big wick at the top and the big wick at the bottom. A little bit of a spinning top going on. I would just Glenn Neville is Boston. Can I kick Boston off? I can I? I'm gonna kick Boston off. All right. That was my last stock. Those are my picks going into the week. Can you put us on our ending screen, Joey? Are we there? There we are. Hey, we covered a lot of stuff today. Hopefully you liked it. I got to sneeze.
If you didn't,
hold
deal
on.
with it.
Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. I didn't want to blow everybody's eardrums out. All right. Patrick, with the information about the trading for charity, guys, you got to support it. It's for a great cause. That's mine. That's right. It's for a great cause, for Levine's kids and making a great Christmas for a lot of less fortunate kids. So we got to get behind that. We got to support it. I will do whatever I need to do to help him out in that. This is his brainchild. I'm all for it, 110%. But whatever I can do to help, I will definitely do.
Oh, can I answer Stefan's question real quick? Because they asked earlier and I missed it.
Go ahead.
So he was asking, do I still like DRV? I still like DRV, like I stated last week. I took DRN for the short-term trade because DRV looked a little overextended. It did pull back just like I thought it would. I'm just waiting with some certain indicators that show overbought, oversold territory, waiting for it to really hit that true oversold territory and start turning back around, get some confirmation from there as a new entry into it. Overall, longer term, yeah, I like DRV better. DRN was just a short-term trade just because DRV looked a little overextended at the time. And knowing contra ETFs and knowing just leverage ETFs in general, you know, if you're sitting through that pullback, it takes a lot more to get back to break even. So I'd rather take the opposite trade, be in and out quickly. It's not a triple or leverage ETFs are not long-term buy and hold type of trades. So hopefully that answers your question on, do I still like DRV? Yes. Short term though, it looked overextended. I took DRN, ended up making money with it.
Mark, to answer your question in regards to contributing for the trading for charity, we have a PayPal account this year.
So yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently, Mark. They'll still show up just like the notifications will, or last year the super chats would. But we figured out a way so that way more money goes towards the cause rather than going to fees and expenses and all that. So we did figure out a way of making sure as much money as possible goes towards Levine. So yes, but make sure to be there on the 29th or on the 25th. And I will talk about how to donate. If you want to donate, we're going to have a few different options for you, but how to do that and make sure that your donations go directly towards it rather than getting taxed and getting feed.
Sorry about that. I was talking to Joey in the background.
I figured as much.
Okay. I'm gonna put up, or Patrick will put up a thing on the I'll put it up to look for your stocks for next week. That's the only way we're gonna do it. That's the only way we're gonna really get a way to do that. Is I'm gonna put up a chat on the YouTube channel where you guys can give us the stocks that you want us to look at for next week. All right, I'll do that. We're gonna create. I'm gonna set that up in a second. For that reason, so that you guys can put your stocks. CTRM is a tough stock. I loved that stock a long time ago, but I don't like it nearly as much. All right. Thank you all for liking my hat. I love this hat. It's an awesome hat. Hopefully you saw the short where I had my cowboy boots on today as well.
If you haven't already, I know at least half of you haven't already. Smash that like button right now. We need all your guys' support, especially going into next week. We need everybody on deck, all of VB Nation to show up and show out, smashing that like button, chatting a whole bunch, sharing all the videos that we have, really getting the word out. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to do that because we need as much momentum as possible if we're going to hit some of these goals that we want to hit for Levine Children's Hospital this year. So if you haven't done so already, do so right now. It doesn't cost you a thing. What are you waiting for? You might as well.
All right. So you know me. I like to be at 100 likes. If we get there, we do. If we don't, it's all good. It's all up to you. All right. With that, I'm going to still close this out. I think I did it last week. I'll do it again this week. Thank you guys for joining us for Afternoon Market Action. We're here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Remember, invite your friends. Make sure you invite your friends for the Trading for Charity to support that starting next week. With that, folks, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Still praying for all of the people in Florida due to Hurricane Ian. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste, yasu. Till next time, folks, see ya.